You're listening to or watching The Green Machine live. You're home for Irish football news and nostalgia. David Dunn here, joined by Nick Mendes and kind of Martin Prendergast. We'll get to that in a minute. Looking very jolly there. Of course, we are live on our YouTube and Facebook channels. On tonight's program, we're going to be talking about pretty much the window, the international window, which is coming up next Thursday. Well, starts next Thursday against France away. We're going to be talking about Stephen Kenny's squad. Was a 25-man squad, now a 26-man squad. We'll get to that. We're going to see how our boys in green got on over the weekend. A bit of a mixed bag for our lads playing across the water. Anyway, right. All of this and more coming live to you on The Green Machine. Well, lads, this is the first one. Welcome, all three of us on the podcast. I better unmute your microphone there, Martin.
I'd say 2.5 was Dave, to be honest.
2.5. How many of us do you see, Martin?
Yeah, I can see you. Don't worry about that.
How many though, Martin?
I can hear you too many as well. That's the problem.
That's not the problem. That is the pleasure, and the pleasure is all mine. Well, lads, first one. We've had the three of us on. It's kind of I've been the mainstay here, you know, the spine of the team as per usual. But yeah, it's good to have you both on. Are we all excited for the window? Of course, the squad was announced last week. We're playing France on the Thursday. We're playing the Dutch on the Sunday, which is a bit of a weird day. We all excited? I mean, come on.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. Love international windows. The first of the domestic season.
God. Yeah, do you remember that guy?
Yeah, do you remember that? That's
Ortega as well, wasn't it?
Ortega. What a dickhead.
He had a bug up his arse, didn't he?
Yeah, but no, in all seriousness, I'm excited for this one. You know, two massive teams. The last window was horribly disappointing, but I can see a result in one of these games, lads. I can see it. I'm always wrong.
Results.
I can see 2 results, 2 losses. No, but I can see us getting a positive result in this window. I think we will. No, actually, I'll take it all back. We're fucked, aren't we?
There we go. That is the spirit. Speaking of spirits, Martin, Mr. Positivity over there. How do you reckon we're going to get on? 6
points, isn't it? It's easy. It's all done.
Yep.
I'll probably go down to 3 points, perhaps. Absence, if I can say that, of Callum O'Dowda. That's the worry. But no, look, I'm very excited to go off to Paris on Thursday and then Dublin on Sunday. So looking forward to it. You have to be optimistic going into these things. You know, that's it. Look, we've got more. Looking at to give Stephen Kenny some credit here. I think, you know, we've been developing our players and he's been bringing them into the squad and stuff. Look how many players now are in the Premier League. Exactly. That's what it's about.
I don't think he developed those players, though, Martin. Well, have you had a few, Martin?
I have had a few, yeah.
Martin's been drowning in sorrows at the Emirates today, and of course, a long journey back to the other side of London for all those Man United fans. Just before we get into it, we are Irish football's most interactive podcast and stream. So have your say. Leave a comment. Are you going to Paris? Are you going to Dublin? What do you think? What do you think of the squad? What do you think about Mohamed? How our guys got on? Tell us. We want to hear from you. We are Irish football's most interactive podcast. Tell us what you think. Actually, I'm going to go in the first comment here. Going to break my rule a little bit. Connor, God bless you. Rumor has it O'Dowda isn't actually injured, and Prendy was just told it is so he wouldn't cry. Is that what you? Is that?
Yeah, probably could be right there. I'm going to make inquiries on the injury there, to be honest. So thank you, Connor, for your feedback there.
Yeah, nothing to do that with the fact that he's terrible, but you know. Don't you roll your eyes at me, young man. We having words in Paris. Well, anyway, did he play the weekend?
No, he's injured, isn't he? That's why he's not in the Ireland squad. For God's sake, Dave, keep up.
Anyway, we're going to get into the Ireland squad. We're going to just talk through that just for our audio listeners as well. I'm going to read it out. I'm going to put it on the screen here. So in goal, we got Gavin Bazunu, Queeving Kelleher, Mark Travers. In defence, we have Matt Doherty, Festi Abiselli, Enda Stevens, Ryan Manning, James McLean, more on him later, Shane Duffy, John Egan, Nathan Collins, Darrell O'Shea, Darrell Lenihan. And then in midfield, we have Josh Cullen, Jason Malumbi, Jeff Hendrick. Nick's favourite, Alan Brown, Will Smallbone, cousin Will, Jason Knight, Jamie McGrath, and up front we have Adam Ida, Will Keane, Evan Ferguson, Aaron Connolly, and Mr. Ogbenny himself. And then, of course, it came around yesterday, a late edition, Mr. Omobamidele. I keep adding an extra O, I think, to that one. But he was called into the squad. The 21-year-old centre-back was called into the squad yesterday. Of course, he is now the £20 million centre-back, new signing of Premier League's Nottingham Forest. The same Nottingham Forest that got a 1-0 win at Chelsea. Obviously inspired by Mr. Andrew Omobamidele himself. So let's have a look at the squad there, lads. We've got not just that. In fact, we do have a bit of Oi Big. Nick, will we do the Oi Big?
Oh, we'll do the Oi Big. We'll
do the Oi Big, and we'll talk about...
Can I just say, lads, a really good discussion on the squad last week. I can give you a pat on the back, a virtual pat on the back from Dublin here. But a really good chat in the squad, and I mean, we're going to discuss in a couple of minutes anyway. But do check that out. Anyone listening, do listen back to that episode, the last one, I believe, in the back catalogue.
Absolutely. And of course, you can head over to greenmachinepodcast.com, thegreenmachinepodcast.com if you want to get our entire back catalogue. Also, you can head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can head over to our YouTube channel. Give us a cheeky subscribe to the YouTube channel. And our lovely Green Machine followers out there, please spread the word. We are doing God's work every Sunday, 9 o'clock, well, 10 o'clock. It's the trains. It's not my fault, lad. Sorry. Right. Oi Big. Come on. Here we go.
Right, so our boys in green for this week. So plenty of stuff, like plenty of Premier League stats. This is probably the most Premier League stats we've had in years, actually. So as we know, Evan Ferguson, hat-trick for Brighton in their 3-1 win versus Newcastle United. Nathan Collins, an assist for Brentford in their 2-2 draw with Bournemouth. Will Keane, 2 goals for Preston North End in their 2-0 win over Stoke City. Liam Delap, of course, Irish eligible Liam Delap, a goal for Hull City in their 1-0 win over Leicester City. Josh Cullen, an assist for Burnley in their 5-2 loss to Spurs. Mark Sykes, a goal and an assist for Bristol City. They beat Swansea City 2-1. A Phil Azaz goal for Plymouth Argyle. They beat Sammy Smodics's Blackburn Rovers 3-0 into League One. And Conor Howerhan, a goal for Derby County in their 2-1 loss to Bolton. Richard Keogh, a goal for Wycombe Wanderers in their 1-0 win versus Northampton. And Conor Noss, a goal for... let's try this.
Martin, do you want to pronounce this one? Go on, go for it.
Blauweiss Linz.
That was very good.
Actually,
that's actually it. No, that's actually it.
Showed me.
What's it is?
Well, Blauweiss Linz.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you, Dave? Sorry, Mr. Ogbenny, let's just go back. What's his first name again? Dave?
Nick, Martin asked you a question.
No, Nick.
Mr. Ogbenny.
Chelsea.
Okay. By the end of the, I don't know how we're gonna. I can't even quantify how long we can give you to learn our Luton Premier League.
Chiedozi Ogbenny.
Yeah, well done.
Sounded Italian. I suppose you would have been speaking a bit of Italian not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All different sorts of languages. Excellent elocution over here. You can keep that one. Right. Well, I mean, plenty to talk about there. Obviously, look, let's talk about the positives first. Evan Ferguson hat-trick. Fantastic. Love this boy. Left foot, right foot, inside the box, off his arse. Doesn't matter. He just knows. No, but the ball. The ball off his arse. It doesn't matter, does it? It just goes in. He's a natural goal scorer. I've said it before. He reminds me of Alan Shearer. He reminds me of Harry Kane. He reminds me of Jimmy Greaves, genuinely. And he's just phenomenal. And this boy, just as long as he keeps injury-free over the next few years, he has got the world at his feet, hasn't he? The plot is coming out on Twitter. Gary Lineker, a decent striker, wouldn't he? He was just all over him. I haven't even got to watch Match of the Day, actually, and I can't wait to watch it. Just fantastic, wasn't it? I let out a massive roar at work yesterday when he got a hat-trick. I may have sworn in front of some kids by mistake.
Nick, do you want to go?
Oh, yeah. You're right, Martin.
No, I am. I mean, look, I'll talk about Evan Ferguson all day. I mean,
we know you would. Yeah.
We have to celebrate a fantastic player that we have. And
you were celebrating tonight, weren't you?
It's very, very exciting to see a top player like this. This is, we've had of doldrums really with Irish football over the last few years. Nothing to look forward to, and now we have an up and coming striker. Like if you think the best two previous players were linked with Ireland, with Jack Grealish and Declan Rice, there you go. I've said it. Now we have someone who is committed to the cause. He's going to be our mainstay for going forward. That's it. And we have to build the team completely around him, in a sense that he's going to be our main striker. We've had Troy Parrott, Obafemi coming in. We've had people try and be central strikers for us, but this guy's the real deal. He can actually do it in the Premier League every week and week in, week out. And
yeah, he's only 18. He's only 18.
It's frightening. It's frightening. It's completely frightening, isn't it?
And Martin makes a great point there, Nick. Every now and again, I suppose it happens. Stop clock is right twice a day, isn't it? No, but he makes a great point there, doesn't he? That we've looked at players like Jude Bellingham. Okay, that's a long shot. Ireland jersey, I suppose, when he was a kid. But Declan Rice and Jack Grealish. What we could have had. What we should have had maybe if it was for a bit of better management. And here we actually have a bona fide possible superstar. Don't touch wood. In Evan Ferguson, and he's all ours.
Yeah, and look, as Irish fans, we get so carried away about any player, don't we? Any young player who's doing a bit of business. I mean, if you look at Aaron Connolly, Adam Maida, Troy Parrott, even, we got so carried away about those lads, and they're still so young. But there's something different about Ferguson. Ferguson just looks the full package. Like he really, really does. And I think that's the big thing about him. He's got the physicality already. He's only 18. He reminds me a lot of Wayne Rooney in so many ways. I mean, I'm suppose I'm not as old as you lads, but I do remember Wayne Rooney when he
Rooney.
Yeah, when he burst onto the scene, just like Micah Richards back in 2002, and just the pure physicality. He looked like he was about 35, didn't he? But he was only 16. Ferguson is a couple of years older, and just keeps improving. That's the big thing about Ferguson. Connolly, as well as he's doing now, he just he declined. Same as Troy Parrott. Adam Maida had injuries. Ferguson just looks better and better and better with every game. And I think we haven't seen an Irish player really up their game and up it to an elite standard, or, come on leaps and bounds in so long. Stephen Ireland's actually the last player I can think of, to be brutally honest. The last player I remember, playing in the Premier League and then coming back after a summer and just upping his game so much. I haven't seen that. We've seen so many players regress. We've seen so many players get comfortable and stagnate. Jeff Hendrick's a good example. Someone who's been years in the Premier League.
Though, in 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, but years in the Premier League and, didn't really progress and just stayed the same basically. And then I suppose got a little bit worse. For Ferguson, he's just getting better and better and better every aspect of his game. For a big guy, you look at him and you think, oh, maybe he's a target man. He's good in the air or whatever. He's got the full package. His feet are fantastic. He's technically excellent. I think he's going to be playing a deeper role for Ireland, maybe going forward, maybe under the next manager, whoever that is, in a few years' time. Because I think he's going to be the player although he's a striker, I think he's going to be the player pulling the strings because he's that good. I think he can read the game so well. And as Martin rightly said, we're going to have to build a squad around him. I mean, we're speaking about the guy nearly every week, but
do you know what I love about him?
He's getting better. He just keeps getting better and better and better.
Do you know what I love about him as well? When you watch him score, he just looks like he's enjoying it. He looks like he's having a time of his life out there. He's
living
really
the dream.
Enjoying his football. He is, and I love that about him. Like, he does seem to have his head, on his shoulders. He's obviously getting good guidance from his family. But when you see him out there and he scores, he's like, look at this, is brilliant. And I just hope he keeps. Obviously, I don't want him to go down the path of other footballers, Irish footballers, to get cozy and he settle down and happy. They're made for life. No. Go out and start winning. Not now. He's at the right club, of course. Go out and start winning things, prove yourself, be playing in the Champions League, winning the Champions League, that kind of thing. But I hope he keeps that innocence about him, that just pure joy of just out there and playing. You see players now and you celebrate and it's like, and they, I think he had a bit of a, who was the lad actually? He was an Irish lad who was actually Malumbi. And I like Malumbi, but, he's like, no, give us a second, lads. And he's practicing the celebration. No, come on, just let the emotion take you. Like, I hate when players have traditional, when you have trademark celebrations. It does my head in because it just feels unnatural. If you want to go out and you just when you score and you just go mad for it. I love that about him. Just be like that. Just stay like that. And just play the game for the love of it.
And just on him, Dave, because I'm just conscious it's an old big and all the talk about Evan Ferguson. But Will Keane, I mean, a guy that gets a lot of flack from Irish fans, and I mean, Preston have gone to the top of the table. You know, they're top of the table, unbeaten in the championship, and Keane is, I think he's 4 or 5 goals already this season, and he's one of those guys who, as I said, he gets a bit of a slag, and he declared for us pretty late. He's a good player, you know. He's an instinctive striker. I think he's been our top scorer in England, albeit in the Championship and League One for the last 3-4 seasons, you know. So he's banging in the goals. I'm delighted he's in the squad. He's never really gotten a fair crack with us. I think he played against Lithuania, didn't he, in that game where we had 7 goals chalked off. So he's another player who could be trusted in this window. You know, I can see a situation where you could see Ferguson and Keane up front based on form, you know, if Kenny doesn't go with Ogbene. So he's another guy who's done unbelievably well, and I wouldn't say he's gone under the radar because he's scoring goals, but he's someone who probably doesn't get a fair deal from Irish fans, to be brutally honest.
Okay, fair enough. Just want to remind everybody home, where you're watching, remember, have your say, get involved. I want those comments coming in. Are you going to Paris? Tell us what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Ask us a question. Get involved. It's there for you. Just don't get us thrown off the air. And one player, of course, then the other end of the pitch didn't have a great weekend. Sunderland beating Southampton 5-0 with Gavin Bazunu in goal. That, and Ryan Manning as well in defence. That isn't good, is it? That's really...
No, it's not. Look, he's conceded a lot of goals already, and even in the Premier League last season, I mean, the statistics, I'm not big on, you know, expected goals, XG and all that kind of stuff, but the stats are a little bit telling with Bazunu. He struggled. Very contemporary keeper, loves to play it out from the back. You can see that he learned a lot of Man City, even though he wasn't there for too long. But you have to remember how young the guy is as well for a goalkeeper. I mean, you look at so many goalkeepers and they go well into their late 20s or late 30s now. So Bazunu still has a lot to learn, but I will be concerned. Yeah, but
goals in the Championship.
Yeah, but the other thing is, lads, you've Alex McCarthy on the bench, vastly experienced keeper, and if things are shipping, then Russell Martin will go with McCarthy, I think. And it's not all necessarily Bazunu's fault. You look at the way Southampton are trying to play. It's a possession-based game. We've got Will Smallbone there, Ryan Manning there playing in that system. It looks very, very attractive. It went very, very wrong yesterday. And I would be concerned. Mark Travers doing very, very well with Stoke. Caoimhín Kelleher not playing. So you could have a situation where, because Stephen Kenny's done it before, lads, he has come up with big choices and big decisions. And you could have a situation where Mark Travers maybe...
Depends how his head is, though, doesn't it? Because
Travers,
well, I mean, Travers got into the Ireland team on merit, and the game against Serbia, the 3-2, and he's never really recovered. I know he's made a couple of appearances, but he never really recovered after that, did he? Because there was
but that's a long time ago. This, you know, he had a really, really good season for Bournemouth in between that spell.
But if you're Stephen Kenny and you know your arse is on the line here and you need to get at least 3 points, are you going to take a risk? I mean, I think goalkeeper wise we're in a very precarious position here, because you have a goalkeeper who's having a tough time with Bazunu. You have a goalkeeper who is rusting and is just sitting there, and he hasn't got to move again, and he's just going to sit on the bench because Alisson ain't going to be dropped unless, you know, he's in phenomenal form at the moment. Liverpool seem to be back on the up, or going the right direction at least. And then you have another goalkeeper who last time he played in the big, you know, he shit the bed, quite frankly.
That's a long time ago, Dave. I take absolutely no heed of that, to be honest, because as I said, that season with Bournemouth, where he had the record number of clean sheets or whatever, that came after that. Yeah, and I actually remember him. No, but I remember him playing against, because it was Mitrovic. Mitrovic made shit of him in that game in Belgrade, and I remember him actually playing against Fulham in the league and doing excellently well. He's doing really, really well with Stoke. He's learned a lot. He's developed a lot.
Does it in the Premier League.
Travers,
he's had 2 bites at it. He's had 2 bites of cherry.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. No, Travers.
Why is he going with Neto then?
Because Neto is a fantastic keeper. Neto's the captain. He came from Barcelona. No, I wouldn't go with that. I don't think that was Travers' fault that he was dropped or anything like that. Travers did absolutely fine. Travers did absolutely fine. The Premier League. Bournemouth were struggling. Really were relegation candidates, and he went for experience. I don't think that was anything to do with Travers and his.
But why is he on then? Like, I mean, he started with Travers,
Yeah, but Neto's a hugely experienced player. And that's what Gary O'Neill went for. He wanted experienced players. He wanted guys that can get them out of relegation. And he wanted, like, Neto's come in as captain. He's come straight in as captain. That's what it was to do with. It wasn't anything to do with Mark Travers' ability.
I thought he had a few rugby games in the Premier League. He's a very good championship goalkeeper.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did, though.
He's a very good championship goalkeeper, and he's obviously in better form than Mizuno at the moment in the championship. But as I said, he did play that game 2 years ago, was it? Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? 2020, wasn't it?
21, I think, yeah.
21.
But a long time, as I said, he's learned so much from that. That's I wouldn't even look at that game.
If you're Stephen Kenny, who do you play now?
On form, I go for Travers, but I know Stephen Kenny, he'll go for Bazunu. I'm Bazunu's been his number one, so I can understand it, but I can't exactly say, like, if you talk about Travers not being confident from a game 2 years ago, I don't think Bazunu is going to be confident from his performances recently, to be honest.
Yeah, personally, I think Bazunu is number one, isn't he, for us? And the two lads there, very good goalkeepers, but they're both 24. Like, unfortunately, we haven't got that experienced senior pro goalkeeper who's hanging around the squad. Like Randolph's not there anymore, and I think that's the thing. He can't call on anyone more experienced, and I don't think he's going to do that anyway. I think he's going to trust Bazunu, and I think backup will be like Kelleher if it goes wrong. But the fact is, sadly, that they're not both playing, and I think Bazunu, all right, he's in the firing line, but he's a very competent goalkeeper, and I think he has to be trusted because he hasn't let us down. And I just think that's it. Just overall, I think we thought Kelleher was going to get the move. Travers obviously not worked out there with him kind of playing regularly, but that's just the nature of the goalkeeper, isn't it?
Well, here's some interesting comments here. Right? I'm going to go into the comments because it's prevalent to what we're speaking about. So Connor goes on about Bazunu saying that he's been brilliant this season, bar Saturday. Yes, he was very poor on Saturday. Every other goal he conceded wasn't his fault. And then Connor says to me, Travers hasn't had two bites of the cherry at the Prem, Dave. He played one game as a young player. Then last season, they bought in a top-class keeper. Nick is 100% right. You can't be the best keeper in the championship for Bournemouth, then all of a sudden be a terrible Prem goalkeeper. And then John Muckian, Travers was benched last year after he shipped 9.
Yeah, responsible for none of those goals, though. If you watch it back, none of those goals he was responsible for. So I don't think it was based on that, to be honest.
I remember when he had his first season with Bournemouth, where he came on and made a debut against Spurs, and he did well. And then I think he saw out the rest of that season. And then the next season, did he not start? And then he was benched.
He went into pre-season, and I think he got an injury, and then Aaron Ramsdale came in from, and Ramsdale did really well, and subsequently got a move to Sheffield United, I think, wasn't it? And then went to Arsenal. So he was unlucky there, Travers. It was pre-season that kind of fucked him over, to be honest. I don't know if it was the injury or what it was, but Ramsdale obviously overtook him and did very, very well.
We said on the talk on the last one, the squad reaction, we were talking about, obviously Bazunu would start because he just will. He's Ireland's number one. He hasn't had a terrible game for Ireland yet, but he has been a bit lackadaisical for a couple of goals, especially from outside the box, and that has been a criticism of Bazunu. And I know Connor might not agree with me there, but let's be honest, we've conceded a lot of goals from outside the box, and also you've got Travers obviously playing and Kelleher not. But we said that if Bazunu didn't play, that he would play Kelleher just on reputation over Travers. Now, despite what I said about Travers about the Premier League or whatever, I do think that's absolutely mad. But I do think you would. Do you think you do that, Nick? Do you think you play Kelleher just simply because he's a Liverpool player over Travers? Kenny, that is.
No, I can't see it happening. No, I think he's overly loyal sometimes, and I think Bazunu will be starting. But I think Kelleher is the third choice keeper at the moment.
You think he's third choice?
I think he is, yeah. No, I think he is, because as I said, Travers is playing, he's playing well, and I think Kenny does value that, unless you're Jeff Hendrick. He wants his players playing. I mean, Max O'Leary as well at Bristol City, I'm surprised he's not in the squad. I'd actually have him over Kelleher because he's doing very, very well. He's playing every week. So, I can't see Kelleher getting any... Who knows? Like, he could spring a surprise. He might say, well, Bazunu shipping a lot of goals. I don't trust Travers. Kelleher's the next in line. So I don't know, but that's how I'd read it. That's just how I'd read it.
Okay. Connor, come on. Jesus. Something go on, Nick. You tell him. Cheers, Connor. Bollocks. Spurs was the last game of the season. Yep, that's right. I remember that actually now. And they were just giving a young lad a game from the 21s. But he does agree with me that Bazuna has conceded too many from outside the box. He still has a lot to work on. And he is young. And let's be honest, we're not sticking the boot into the lads. We're just having a conversation about it. He is a very young goalkeeper. Some goalkeepers don't. Remember Shay Given? You wouldn't remember this. Shay Given, greatest Irish goalkeeper of all time. And he was terrible.
Paul Packy.
Do you disagree, Martin?
No, I'm not.
There you go.
Given had bad spells. Given had bad spells for Newcastle. After the World Cup as well, he had a very bad spell, and he was dropped for Steve Harper, wasn't he? So
Champions League as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And your beloved World Cup 2002 campaign as well. Actually, Anna Kelly started in goal for Ireland for the first few games.
The Dutch game,
So I'm not. Look, these lads are going to be fantastic in the future. So what do we make of Andrew Omobamidele? Omitted. Now, we made a point here during the midweek show. We were chatting about, obviously, Shane Duffy's in. And Omobamidele was out. And Duffy was keeping Omobamidele out of the team. Now, was that on form? Possibly. But also, I think it had something... Would you agree, Nick, that was something maybe to do with the fact that he was off... looking for a move away, supposed to be allegedly going to Milan. Maybe
look, there was a lot of. I mean, there was a leak a good while ago, wasn't it, from Omobamidele's mother, wasn't it, that he was in talks with AC Milan, and that was back in kind of early July, wasn't it? So I don't think he was on the bench because he was dropped or because Shane Duffy is a better player. I mean, I think it was because he was trying to thrash out a move and they kind of thought, well, this guy's going to leave anyway. So, why would we start the season off with this? Yeah, why would we start the season off with this centre half when he's not going to be here? You want your teams to gel at the start of the season. And at least if he's coming off the bench, you still have that quality player, but he's not integral to the starting team. And Duffy came in and leapfrogged them internationally somehow. But that's the only reason I don't think he was starting for Norwich.
Do you agree? I mean, my point was, and I think Martin, you agreed with me. If I'm wrong, Martin, please come in. But we were saying that, Shane Duffy, as much as we love Shane Duffy, he doesn't suit Kenny's style, the style that Kenny, professes he wants to playing out from the back. Like Shane Duffy is, your last-ditch defender. He's a plan B, but Kenny doesn't have a plan B. That it was short-sighted, even though Duffy was keeping Andrew out of the side, but he should have gone with. Now he's back in the team anyway, but he should have picked him straight away. Like I think you were saying as well yourself. Nick, don't want to put words in your mouth, but Omobamidele should have been in the squad from the start, shouldn't he? If he was fit.
Yeah, I didn't understand it, to be honest. Like I don't know why he's just come in now, because I mean, I don't think it's a thing that Kenny didn't name him because he was trying to get a move. I mean, whether he got a move or not, he was going on international duty or the international window was happening. So. I really don't understand it. It's a lot of centre halves, and like there's arguments coming in for Liam Scales now. I think he got man the match against Rangers. If I can be proven incorrect there, I will be. But I think he got man the match. He looked very, very good. But we saw many centre halves. I wouldn't have had Darragh Lenihan in there. I would have had Omobamidele over him. But no, it's a strange one, and it looks bad as well. I think it's kind of like, oh well, he got a Premier League move. We better call him up. I don't think it's a good look. But I don't think it's anything to do with him getting the transfer that he wasn't called up to the Ireland squad because it would have been wrapped up by the games anyway. The transfer window.
Exactly, and I mean, it's a phone call, isn't it? Just include him in the squad and just join up when you do your medical or whatever. Because obviously he couldn't play on the Saturday because he had to be done by 12 p.m. on the Friday. So he's never going to play. If anyone out there, by the way, watching, if you do know what the story is there, because we genuinely don't know. Because it was a 25-man squad. Go on, Martin. Come on, Martin.
Stephen Kenny said that Duffy's playing ahead of him.
No, why Omobamidele though? Keep up,
but that's
Martin.
what he said though. He did say.
No, but why he's brought in now?
Oh no, why he's brought in now? We don't know. But Duffy was brought in, and he was asked about Omobamidele, Easy for me to say. But he was asked about him, and he did say, that Duffy's playing for Norwich ahead of him, and he probably didn't think he was good enough, to be honest. That was it. He was asked in the press conference. He was asked that, and that was his answer. So I think he does have
not
to
savvy enough to see that. Like we can see that. We knew that he's been
speculation.
We knew there was a lot of speculation about him leaving, and as I said, there was a leak, so it looked like he was in talks with AC Milan for the last few weeks, and I think Bournemouth were looking at him as well. So there was a lot of talk of him going, and you'd imagine that's why Norwich weren't playing him, because Omobamidele is better than Shane Duffy, and he's better than Grant Hanley. And I say
they don't want to get injured today.
They don't want to get injured. But surely Stephen Kenny can recognise that and say, Omobamidele is on the way out of Norwich. They're not going to start him because they want the team to gel. So they're going to go with Shane Duffy and Grant Hanley. I mean, if there's any Norwich City fans on the stream at the moment, which I don't think there is, they probably agree with that. But how does Stephen Kenny not recognise that? How does Stephen Kenny not recognise that, and we do?
And it's the future. That's the thing.
And most people, not just us, but most people who understand a bit of ball would know that that's what was going on.
And it's the future. That's the thing. Like, here's the guy you want to play. You profess that you want to play a ball playing, play it out from the back. You got Egan, you have Omobamidele, and you have Collins. Obviously, you got Shea as well. They're ball playing centre halves. Duffy isn't. Duffy is a liability on the ball. He is a great defender in terms of last ditch, heading it out, clearing out to Rosette. But if you're trying to change the DNA of the Irish football team and play it out from the back, he's a liability.
But when he tried to play it out from the back, Dave, against Scotland, we were nearly 3-0 down after 10 minutes. And I think Duffy's a fantastic player. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a really, really good player. I don't think he's suited to a back three. He could maybe play in a back two with the ball playing defender like Omobamidele. But I mean, I wouldn't be going for Darragh Lenihan either. I mean, I've been watching, I can't remember which game it was a Hull Middlesbrough. Anyway, it'll come to me anyway. But I was watching.
He's never impressed in green, is he?
No, but like he's nearly 30. Yeah, he's nearly 30 now. He was really, really poor against Greece. I think he did all right against Ukraine last year. I remember watching him against now. I'll be extremely hypocritical here, because I was saying the Mark Travers game from a couple of years ago should be null and void. Well, the Northern Ireland game where Lenihan made his debut, he was shocking. Or not his debut, but he played. He was shocking. So, surely a lad like that, as good as he did last season, you have to be going for Omobamidele in the first place. And as I said, Liam Scales, he gets a really bad time from the Celtic fans, but he was excellent today. He's a left footer. He would offer a little bit of balance. I don't think he'd start for us, but it's mad how he was in squads when he wasn't even playing for Celtic. And now that he's playing for Celtic, he's not in the squad. I just don't get the logic.
That was the point I made during the week as well. We were talking about like Manning coming in, Enda Stevens coming in. Like, what has Liam Scales done within that Ireland squad to mean he's been brought over to the Malta game, and now he's not good enough anymore? It just doesn't make sense.
But can I come on something again? Darragh Lenihan was playing really well for Middlesbrough last season, and he was getting overlooked.
Yeah,
he's not playing well for them at the moment, and now he's getting in the squad.
Oh,
so like, where's all the logic? Where's the logic come from?
Just an update here, lads, from John Muckian. We'll take his word for it. They called up Andrew because of the knock to Egan. We were wondering about that. There is a chance he starts against France, in my opinion, similar to Portugal.
That's fine, though. That's fine, Dave. But still, I think he should have been in the original squad.
100%.
It doesn't matter about Egan having a knock now. 100%. Like, why is he on standby? Doesn't 100%.
He's the future.
Again, I'm going to knock the communications people from the FAI in this. Who was the people on standby? Because that's what we need to kind of know, in a sense. You need to have 3 or 4 players.
They do normally tell you that. They do normally tell you that.
They didn't do it now. But like,
when it suits them,
definitely been there.
Yeah. No. Listen, I agree with you there. Moving on to the next part of the squad. Obviously, James McLean. He's playing on the 4th tier of English football. He took an exception to everybody, doesn't he? To Nick. Yeah, Nick's upset, James. So here's his Instagram post. I'm going to read it, by the way, for our audio listeners. I am going to read it as it is written, so it's not my grammar that's poor this time. And also, by the way, your comments are coming in, guys. Keep them coming in. I want to hear from you guys. Who's going to France? Who's going to say hello to us in France? Who's going to the matches in Dublin? And do you agree with what we're saying? Keep the comments coming in. Some great discussion. We will get to them. So fantastic stuff. Right.
Can you do James McLean's quote in his accent, please?
Now, why don't you do that, Martin? Let's hear your Irish accent. Oh, dear. The disrespect shown by people whose has either done very, very little in the game or never kicked the ball in their life, probably couldn't tell you if a ball was blew up or stuffed, just because you talk a good game or write a good game does not change the above. League 2 this and League 2 that talk, and to judge the league, listen, these same idiots be up in arms calling for League of Ireland players to be in the squad and starting. I respect the hell out of the League of Ireland, or LOI. It made me, but do not tell me it's a better standard outside of the top 2 clubs in Scotland. That's not a better standard either. I'll argue all day on that. If this insults anybody, by the way, then good, it was meant to. Yeah, Nick, good.
Just for the record, it's not about us, but I do know who it is about. And it is about another, I suppose, fan-based channel. And to be fair to them, they weren't exactly going in on James. So it's
Can you send them the price? Do you want to mention who it was?
No, I don't know. But he's easily rattled. He's easily rattled. I think on the McLean thing, he's played the full campaign. He was very good against Gibraltar. The only reason that he would have been dropped is because he's gone to League 2. And if you break it down to the bare bones, James McLean won't be playing against any international players in the next month or so, or sorry, he hasn't played in the last month or so against any international players. If you look at Fessi Obasele, who's vastly inexperienced, he was playing against Juventus a couple of weeks ago. He was playing against a rake of international players. So that would be the concern. I think when you have a lad who's got 100 caps and, as I said, has been involved for this current campaign, I think it's all right. Like the Welsh, I know I keep bringing this example up and maybe it's not a good one, but the Welsh have had a lot of League 2 players in their squads in the last several years. They've just come back from a World Cup and a European Championship. So, it can be done. Will he be playing past this campaign? Probably not. Should he be? I don't think so. I don't think if there's players in a higher, playing at a higher level that are younger, that are fresher, they probably should be in ahead of him. But as I said, for this campaign, and Kenny has to get results. He trusts him. He fits his system. He did well against Gibraltar. You can't, at the end of the day, you're as good as your last game. And I think for international level, you're as good as your last international window for your country. And McLean was our best player in the last game against Gibraltar. So it's very hard to drop him, I think. But those comments, by the way, like he needs to just, I don't know why he takes any. Yeah, I don't know why he takes any notice. Like, I mean, like at the end of the day, lads, I mean, the players are nothing without the fans, and he doesn't have to take any notice of what fans say or what journalists say, but it's the fans that matter, and that's what irked me about that, And as I said, it's not about us. Like we've been very, very, we've given James a huge amount of praise, especially around his 100 cap. Even when he wasn't playing well, lads, we really did get behind James. So it isn't about us, because I know people were wondering, but he needs to respect fan opinion as well, or ignore it.
What I don't get, right? I mean, it's only normal to question somebody who's gone for playing in the second tier of English football, which is an acceptable level, by the way, for and that's just where we're at the moment. Hopefully, we will get better. But he's a 34-year-old. And now he's playing. His game is based on pace. He's still fit. He's still in incredible shape. But his pace will disintegrate over time. That is just physics. That is just natural. What will happen to his body? And now he's playing in the 4th division of English football. It's people are right to turn around and say, I don't know if he should be in that. Now look. He might still be good enough at the chat, like as if in the stink of League 2 won't be attaching itself to him just yet. In terms of he's going to be playing these 4-tier players week in, week out. You're going to adapt to that lower level because you're not playing at a higher level anymore. That's just life. That's just the way football is. If you're playing in a Premier League and you adapt to that, you're playing at a higher standard. You become a better player. You're playing in a lower league, you become a worse player.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I know Vera Pauw obviously relieved of her duties during the week. But Martin and I had a conversation with Vera Pauw just before Christmas, and she said how we're speaking about Gus Hiddink and how he conditioned the South Korean team for the 2002 World Cup. And we said, we basically posed the question, would she be taking a similar approach? Or sorry, how she took a similar approach for playing very strong opposition to strengthen the Ireland team. And she made the really good point. And I know it's really, really on theme with Vera losing her job this week, but she made the really good point as you're only as good as the opposition. Sorry, you're not that you're only as good as the opposition you play. What I can't remember what the actual line she used was, but basically you condition yourself to your opposition. And if James McLean, as I said, if James McLean is playing against, a League Two player, now that League Two player could be a very promising Premier League player who's on loan, but that's the standard that he's playing. That's the standard that he's playing against. As I said, the experience he's got, and to be honest, just the sheer physicality and the sheer fitness he has. He's in tremendous shape. He will get by. And can I just say as well, lads? I mean, James McLean under Stephen Kenny, I think, is a better player than James McLean under Martin O'Neill. And I know he scored the goal against Wales. He scored the goal against Austria. Like, James McLean will run into brick walls. He was very, very wasteful under Martin O'Neill. Like, he was very frustrating to watch under Martin O'Neill. With Stephen Kenny, he plays with a lot more control. And people might get annoyed because he passes the ball back a bit more, or maybe he's a little bit safe. But he wasn't safe under Martin O'Neill. He was wasteful under Martin O'Neill, where with Stephen Kenny, he was brilliant against Gibraltar. His delivery is fantastic, and he's simplified his game. He's cooled his head a bit. So, I think
as he goes, as the older he gets, like there will be a decline. That is just new. That is just nature.
Physics,
yeah, it's just physics, and he will, And I think by the end of this campaign, I think we said it before that he probably will be involved until the end of the campaign. And look, he'll still play. He won't retire from Ireland. He'll either be phased out by the manager, or injury take over somebody who come in. But I think he just needs to calm down a little bit. I think
I don't like the calling out fans, and I mean I've the utmost respect for James. He's 100 caps for the team I support. 11 goals, which is actually very good considering our goal scoring records aren't fantastic. And as I said, I really, really, as a fan, I really admire a player that looks after themselves, and I really admire a player that takes feedback on board, as he has under Stephen Kenny. He has improved under Stephen Kenny, whether he was 33 or whatever.
Coaching.
But I don't like him calling out fans. We will be there fans will be there way after James McLean is. Fans are important. So obviously this other outlet, they're well entitled to their opinion as fans, and James has to just scroll on by and just not let it bother him.
And I think it's fair to say as well. Look, if he's still doing the business for Ireland, and he's playing in League Two, no one's going to bat an eyelid. You still have a little bit, but if you're still doing it, you're doing it. But if you're not going to be doing it, if you're not going to be able to get past players anymore, well, it's going to be you're not playing at a high enough standard. It's that simple. It's not personal, James. If you're listening, he does actually follow Nelson Road, by the way. But it's not personal. We're not all having an attack. We're just asking honest questions. If you keep doing the business, James, we'll welcome you with open arms. And I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice and your country a disservice if you weren't doing the business. And surely, who wants that? Speaking of wing backs, you pointed out during the week that I was giving out about wing backs, and how. No, and fair enough. And you raised the point. I don't think I communicated properly. Actually, I didn't communicate it properly. We have tons of wing backs. I may have suggested we didn't have any, but my point was that we have them, but Stephen Kenny doesn't pick them, and that's why he utilizes players like James McLean, who has done a decent job as a wing back. Callum O'Dowda, enough said. And also Jason Knight, who actually did well, although it was against Gibraltar. So that was my point. I just wanted to get back there about the wing backs, that he is trying to play a wing back system without wing backs, which to me is absolutely mental. And the fact that he's taken in safe playing right wingers. He's a right winger, isn't he, Callum O'Dowda? He plays left wing, but he goes in.
Well, he can play left and right. That's how good he is.
Yeah. But he And he's two left feet, but he plays as a wing back for Ireland, and as you said, he's too safe. But that was my point about that. Like, if you haven't got the wing backs, or you don't have wing backs that you don't have wing backs who you like or will play, don't play sis with wing backs. It's that simple. Cut your cloth accordingly. Anyway, I just wanted to get that a bit in there. Lads, I think we've sort of exhausted the conversation about the squad. It's all going to be very interesting. We'll see who's going to pull out if John Egan does pull out as it goes on.
I think the only thing sorry, I won't spend long on it, but I mean, Sammy Smodux has to be in that squad. He should have been in that squad, and it's shocking that he isn't because he's been fantastic for Black. Now, sorry, his last couple of games for Blackburn, he actually hasn't been. He hasn't been fantastic, but he's had a great start. My point on him is he offers something different. You know, we don't have another player like Sammy Smodux. Jamie McGrath has only played, I think, 2 games this season for Aberdeen. You know, 2 games this season for a very poor Aberdeen side, can I say, as well. And Sammy Smodux is a player, a little bit like we spoke about Evan Ferguson. They're not the same type of player, but what I'm saying is Smodux keeps improving. Like, Smodux keeps adapting his game. He keeps getting better, and he's done really, really well under John Dal Thomason. And we are a team that relies on playing on the counter, and we need a player who can drop into the pockets and create. And Smodux will give us that, and we haven't picked him. So
we picked Jeff Hendrick instead, who's just joined Wednesday. It's just mental. No, fair point. We're going to move on to the comments. Thank you for that, guys. By the way, as always, have your say, get involved. We will be on until we get to the bottom of the comment section. So, you know, keep going, get in what you can. Who's going to Paris? And that's the thing. We're going to be in Paris, Martin. You and I, aren't we? We're going to, in the city of love, you and me.
Oh, God.
No Callum, though. Callum's not in Paris.
Callum. No. 2 Callums. No Callum Robinson, no Callum O'Dowda.
Yeah, so, that's right.
You can be the big C there. Oh, sorry.
We are. No, I was going to say going over on Wednesday, not a Tuesday. English. Yay. Can't wait for it. Going over on the Eurostar standard premiere. Who's going on? Anyone out there going on the Eurostar? Martin, you're going on the Eurostar. They've actually letting you on the Eurostar. Yeah, he's getting a bag of cans, Nick, on the Eurostar.
I never thought he'd be into that.
No.
Yeah, what are you bringing over? John Smith, yeah?
No, probably
Stella.
Caffrey's. Do they do Caffrey's anymore? I don't think they do they? Where's that come from? I do not know.
You old bastard, you.
I am old. Jeez, that was
some Guinness. Have a bit of class about you if you're going to do it. I remember.
Guinness in the can. I don't know. Like, give us your opinion now. Guinness in the can? I don't know.
Give us your opinion, yeah. Guinness in a can. I'll tell you what, though. I will, when I'm in Dublin, I am looking forward to having a pint of non-alcoholic Guinness again, because it's actually quite nice for you non.
Zero, yeah.
No, it is. It's not as creamy, but it's quite nice. But anyway, we are going to be in Paris. Say hello to us. We're going to be hanging around. Martin, where are we hanging around other than the brothels? Oh, sorry, the hotels.
We're actually staying. We're actually meeting. Riss London are meeting at the Indiana Cafe restaurant up near the stadium, Parc des Princes in St. Claude.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite an interesting call during the week when I rang them to kind of get a reserve. And rang them and
Parlez-vous français?
Angleterre. Monsieur. Very Del Boy-esque, but we got there in the end, and we reserved the place there. So from 4:30 till 7:30, we will be at St. Claude. Look at that. Yep. At the Indiana Cafe restaurant. There you go.
Now the game is obviously 8:45 local time. But we will be around. I get into Paris on the Wednesday. So if you see me about, say hello to me, which is always nice. Love meeting our followers. Fantastic. And lovely people out there as well. And we will be around that area, around the actual Parc des Princes. But we're going to have video. We're going to be talking to people. We're going to post anyway. So do have a look in the old Instagram. We're going to try a bit of TikTok as well. I still don't know. I mean, you don't get random videos of women with, showing... Yeah, I'm like, who's this one? I really don't know who these people are. And then somebody just standing there miming to a song. I was like, is this what social media has crumbled to? Outrageous. And actually, I was talking to a young lad, right, at work, and he's French. And he was saying, I'm going over to France. And he's like, you English players, like, you don't play for passion of your country. Like, you all for about money. So hold on a second, mate. I'm Irish. Martin's English, And he was just like, oh, you Irish, English are all the same. He starts going on about, oh, you all play for... I was like, hold on, what team do you support? Oh, Paris Saint-Germain. Oh, should we talk about Mbappe, shall we? and then he just went quiet, and I gave him one of those.
There you go.
Made it. Yeah, you made it. I shut him up anyway. But anyway, right. I do digress. So, guys, we will be in Paris. Do say hello, Martin and myself. We'll be around. Always love meeting the followers. So we're going to get on to, and also in Dublin as well, because this sexy man is going to be. Look at him there. Look
Jesus
at
Christ. Seedy man or sexy man. I don't know what's going on there.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Yeah, got me El Press passes for France. So we will be live as well in Paris. Wi-Fi notwithstanding. Hopefully it's a go. But we'll get a show. We'll get a live show out to you anyway in France and in Dublin. So right, let's move it on to the comments. I'm going to do my best here, lads. Michael Fowley, hello, Facebook. Hello, Michael. Hope you're enjoying it. Daryl, who isn't going to Paris. Daryl, hope everything's okay.
Hey.
Yeah. First Holy Trinity new season. What's the crack, lads? Daryl, top man. Last saw him over in Athens. Hopefully, I'll catch up with you in Dublin. You won't make it to Paris, but hope all is well with you, pal. Michael Foley continues. How's it going, lads? It's going very well, Michael. It's very warm here. You see me on the water a lot. It's really warm here. It's what, 20 degrees, Martin? Are you warm or are you pissed?
The latter.
Both. What about you, Nick? What's it like in Dublin? Is it?
It's nice. Yeah, we're finally getting summer after 3 months of rain.
Summer, yeah. Heat wave next week in the UK. 30.
Yeah.
Whopping heat wave. It's about 10 degrees here. Tropical.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. In Ireland, if you hit double figures, it's like drought territory, isn't it? So,
yeah.
You don't start panicking with the Liffey.
Water outages, everyone wearing shorts. Yeah.
Yeah. Hose pipe ban. No, that's us, isn't it? Michael Foley, lads, exit for the Rugby World Cup. Are you on? You watching the right
pod? Wrong pod.
I think you're on the wrong pod there, Michael. But that's been promotion. Good man, Michael. Good man to you. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Daryl Connor again. No, I'm very optimistic as well, to be honest. Definitely could see Keddy getting 3 points. Daryl, bless you. Graham on YouTube. If we pull off a win or get 4 points the next 2, it will be the best result for the past 10 years, in my opinion. Amabamadeli omission was odd. And then he continues, how is Hendrick in that squad? He's got the photographs, Graham. That's why. By the way, just for legal reasons, I don't know. There's no photographs. We're joking. we're joking, but no, I don't know how he is in the squad. Brian Wilson. Scales had a man of match performance today in the Old Firm. Should he have had a place in the squad? I think we touched on that very quickly, Nick.
I don't know. There's so many lads ahead of him. As I said, the only thing that kind of works in his favour is that he's a left footer. But look, the lads in ahead of him are probably superior. I would have had him over Lenihan, though, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Darrell O'Connor asks questions. Who's you putting left wing back and right wing back? Doherty never does it for me. He's like a ghost on steroids. Maybe Festy on the right and Manning on the left, despite him not being a wing back.
I think on current form, that's our best wing back combination.
Doherty he's not playing. He's not playing for us.
Well, he's not playing. Can't play the first game anyway.
No, he didn't. No, that's true actually, and he didn't play today for Wolves either, did he?
Jason Knight will play there against France on the right.
I'd agree. Yeah,
you reckon?
He'll go with that. Yeah, and he'll go with he'll on the left. He'll just go with. I don't think he'll bring Manning in. I think he'll play McLean.
Yeah, I'd agree.
McLean, yeah. I mean, you were right, but
he's not going to bring people in and then just go, "Oh, now you're good enough," ahead of people I've had in for previous squads.
He's gone very loyal now. He's
going to be very loyal. He's going to bring people in he trusts, and they're backups to people he has, and that's it. That's.
But there are 2 best players in the Gibraltar game, which is our last game.
Exactly. Yeah.
France certainly aren't Gibraltar, but I don't see how you could drop the 2 lads.
And we were rubbish against Gibraltar.
But the 2 lads were good.
But Knight and McLean were very good. Yeah.
It's Gibraltar.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
It does matter. It was Gibraltar.
It does when you have to break them down, and the 2 lads were the players who broke them down.
France.
I know, but you can only play what's in front of you, and they played very well.
No, I know, but I think, yeah, I mean, look, if he goes Jason Knight right, he's obviously going to go Will Smallbone. Again, I like Will Smallbone, but for me, our best chance of beating France is having Cullen, Malumbi, and Knight. That's the whole trinity for us in the center of that park right now. Smallbone will be a top player, but he didn't really do it against Greece, even though he did assist Nathan Collins, but he was pedestrian. He was anonymous for most of that. And I don't think he's ready, but anyway. Daryl O'Connor again. Fair play to Will Keane, but I wouldn't play him personally. Ferguson has to be starting both games. Yeah. So it's most likely to be like Benny or Conley with him. Good combo of little and large. Do you reckon you go Conley instead of Benny with Ferguson?
I think I'll come in on this. I think he will go Evan Ferguson up front, and I think he will go Benny on the right. And I think Connolly will come into as in the place of Mikey Johnson, basically, because he offers that bit of pace as a free at the top of it, if that's the way he's going to go. But I don't know. I just don't know. Benny certainly for me going to be in there.
Played the first game, didn't he, at Kenilworth Road the other night? Didn't do much from the last.
He came on 78th minute. Yeah,
it's not great. It was need him playing every week. Connor says on YouTube, not sure if you lads are aware of this. Not if you read Mike McGrath's article earlier. Who's Mike McGrath?
I don't know what that's about.
Don't know, Connor. If you're still watching,
clarify, Connor.
Yeah, clarify, Connor. You're in a WhatsApp group with us. Daryl O'Connor, also a big shout out to the episode on the Dutch win in 2001. Never realized we were piss poor. Watched the whole game. Fuck me. How he didn't get a penalty? I don't know. Great campaign though. Thank you, Daryl. Actually, yeah, I was chatting to Daryl on WhatsApp, and he was saying that I'm going to go back and watch this because he remembers it being like this great win, this great performance. It was a brave performance, don't get me wrong, and it was brave, but we were lucky and we were terrible. And that's Nick and Martin, because we all do the episodes. That's why I love doing this week back in the day, because not to sound like a total twat, we do educate the younger fans because you go back and you have a look at it, and also the older fans because they've forgotten about it because there's this sort of spin put on it, but we go back in, we open it up, we pull the rug back and we have a look at it. And
you're completely right there, because everyone looks back and thinks we beat Holland 1-0 and it must have been a brilliant performance. It wasn't. And that's the thing. That's what you have to look back at. That whole qualifying campaign, we done really, really well. We well overachieved and we got great results against Portugal and Holland. But
the performances were terrible.
We were third seeds, I think. Oh no, we weren't third seeds, but we were the underdogs against them two better teams, to be honest with you. And yet we still performed. Well, in a sense, we got the results. We were
professional.
Yeah,
we were professional. But look, Holland away for about 60 minutes, we were really good. Then we fell apart. Read of that what you will. The Roy Keane, the sandwiches thing. But I think that is actually that's not the full story. And then Portugal away, we were terrible. Matt Holland got an absolute whirly, but Portugal battered us that night. And then the game in Dublin against Portugal. Portugal should have been 4-0 up. Hitting the post where we Costa. Steve Staunton was terrible in defence, and he was terrible in the centre of defence for that campaign. And let's be honest, Kenny Cunningham was our best defender, but he was always injured. And Richard Dunn was absolutely dreadful against Portugal. Richard Dunn, where are you? Or where were you? George Hamilton screams at him. So yeah, and then the Holland one. It was a great performance, but it was sort of like Mick had finally got the look. He didn't have it in France 98. He didn't have it Euro 2000, and it all sort of came. But all of our episodes, by the way, that's this week back in the day, they're on YouTube. You can get an audio thingy, or you can go onto the website, greenmachinepodcast.com, and we'll move it on. Daryl O'Connor just need to feed Evan Ferguson for Ireland, and he'll put it in. We can't have Moss United up front, but interesting to see who starts up front with him. Connor himself and Sinclair Armstrong. Was he injured?
In time. I think, played for QPR yesterday, came off 60 minutes, looked very tired. Friend of the pod, Declan Finnegan, goes to QPR home and away, said he come on. Look, amazing. We haven't really touched on Evan Ferguson's performance yesterday. That's amazing, getting a hat-trick.
Well, we did, Martin. You just missed it.
I know that, but what a player he's going to be for us. And just even how Ireland deploy him, though, is going to be important, because we're going to come up against really good sides where he's going to get frustrated. He was at France home. He was very isolated. And it is the point there just made by our commenter was that he needs that support. He needs that, someone backing him up basically. And it's got to be very exciting about him though. What a player he's going to be. And, he just needs time though. He's 18 years old. We don't want it to flash in the pan. We've had that before. We overrated.
No, he won't be.
Possibly Connolly. This guy is the real deal, as we know.
He really is. Martin Fitzpatrick asked a question. Who's our last Irish player scored in the PL in a game? I believe it was John Walters in 2015.
It was, yeah.
There you go. Greg Foley. We're just going to try and get through these lads as quick as we can. Lads, what's your take on the new FAI? Any opinions on a new CEO? To be honest, I think the shit show has just carried on from the previous area. I agree with you, Greg. 3. How long is he in the job? 2-3 years?
4 years, I think, isn't it? Oh, no, it's 3. 2020, wasn't it?
3 years. No sponsorship. Doesn't live in Dublin. Still lives in London. We still have a main sponsor. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know the FAI are trying. There's a lot of things that do quite well, Greg, and they have improved upon the social media. I think the communication has got better in some parts, the presentation, that sort of side of things. They are trying, but there are still things that they're failing and they need to be better with, such as the communication in some aspects. The social media is very good, but like certain communications, Martin rightly put out. You said, didn't you, Martin, about like who's on standby, this kind of thing. They just need to be
look. My view on this, I can speak as a chairman of a supporters club. Very little engagement from them officially. Very frustrating in a sense that we did have a fantastic relationship with John Delaney. You can knock that all you want, but he did engage with supporters clubs. He knew how important we were to it. Now we've got a different kind of scenario there with the CEO. Very little engagement. Very frustrating with the ticket office, in spite of what we try and do with them and trying to bring custom to it. It's a business now. That's the whole thing about, I would say. And there's a lot of people within the FAI, I think, are not football people, sadly. And that's just an indictment of where they are at the moment. I think even the Vera Pauw situation, with her very good and very clear statement of frustration that she sent out. And then she's also followed that up with the Tony O'Donoghue interview with RTE during the week. It's very damning, I think, of the FAI, of their engagement.
It's a black eye. It's a black eye.
We have to be better. And, for all the progress we have made, like you said, Dave, no sponsor. It all seems to be forward planning. Can we bring money in? And we're going to jump to the Euros that we're going to host, and we're forgetting about the interim period where we need to have fans involved and part of the future of the football.
And we're moving on because we've got so many questions here, but just the final word on that is, they're going on about they want to host the Euros. The Taoiseach comes out, oh yeah, let's host the Euros. Let's show our world class facilities, and then the FAI put a figure on it and said, by the way, we need £1 billion to get our facilities up to scratch over 15 years. Well, and they were right to do that, by the way, the FAI, because and that's old FAI have left it to rot. They were right to quantify that and go, here we go, this is what we need. But anyway, we're moving on there. John Muckian, Kenny will stick with Baz. That was a discussion with the goalkeeper. I do agree. Darrell O'Connor has come in and said, in fairness, Kelleher and Travis have conceded goals from outside the box for us to think it's a team-wide problem. Needs to get that right. Kenny does. To be fair, Darrell, I know you love Kenny. He's had 3 years to get it right, and that is down to the aggression of the midfield. That is down to the mobility of the midfield, because if you want to play an attacking, expansive style of football, when you lose the ball, you have to get it back straight away. And we've said that the team is not aggressive enough, and that is a coaching problem. That's the attitude that the players go out with from the manager. That's set by the manager and the coaching staff. And that is something Kenny does have to get on. And I do agree with you there. That's why we're not closing the players down, so they have a pot shot, and there you go. Sorry, that's a sort of went rogue there for a moment. John Muckian, who's playing right back against the French, is a big question. I think we all agree Jason Nye. He'll go what he had in the last game. Darrell O'Connor, good to see Andrew in the team. Definitely having Egan and Cons at the back. Andrew could well be the third centre back. Don't know how he wasn't originally in the squad. Connor again. Thing I don't get is the Omobamidele played 2 full 90 minutes in August in the League Cup and a few games off the bench and isn't selected when Hendrick is picked, and does he even train with the first team? No, obviously now he has signed for Sheffield Wednesday, but when the squad was announced, that move hadn't gone through and he hadn't played at all for Newcastle. Darrell O'Connell, Liam Scales done class today. He did get man of the match against them Scum. Are you referring to Rangers, Darrell? Darrell again, whether I'd have Liam Scales in the squad yet, I probably wouldn't. John Muckian, Egan took a knock and had to come off against Everton. That's obviously about our speculation as to why Omobamidele is now in the squad, but it doesn't solve the conundrum of why he wasn't in it in the first place. Brian Wilson, probably Keane.
He's on about the hat tricks.
Robbie Keane, yeah.
It's not obviously.
No, it was John Walters. Darrell O'Connor, hopefully Egan isn't injured. He'll be captain seemingly, and we have a very good record with Egan as captain. Stat from a program. Good man, Darrell. He is a man. He knows his stuff. Archduke 8199. Yes, Scales got man of the match in Glasgow Derby. Played very, very well. John Mucking. They called up Andrew because of knock to Egan. There's a chance he starts against France, similar to Portugal away. Kieran Boyle. I knew something missing. Here we are. Over in sunny Florida. Lads, Labor Day weekend. He even spells labor without the U. You're definitely Americanized, young man. Brews on deck. Hot dogs aplenty. Even the fella in the liquor store knows Kenny ain't about it. I'm sure you have educated him on that, Kieran. Squad is full of dead weight, no leaders, bunch of Irish players with below average manager. 4th place in the group, nailed on. Kieran Boyle again. And way to Jesus with you know what. Hope you're doing well, Kieran. Good to hear from you, pal. Darrell O'Connor, do you reckon his post was to do with the Green Machine? That is James McLean having a go. Well, no, it wasn't. Need to talk to you about that, Nick. I want to know who that was. I mean,
I don't know how. And then I was kind of down myself. I don't know how it could have been because,
we love James McLean.
We've given him praise to James McLean, so I don't know how. But no, I'm fairly sure it's another outlet.
Oh, hold on. Have an update there. Connor has put into the WhatsApp group. He said the Mike McGrath article earlier on, and it's apparently is from Transfer News Live. Source Matt McGrath. Evan Ferguson's eligible to switch international allegiance to England.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah.
He's born in. Oh my God,
nonsense.
Yeah. And Connor rightly says absolute ridiculousness, but good man, Connor. Thank you for clarifying that. Jimmy Shell, hi lads, great shows. Of course, Jimmy. Just reading about Brendan Rodgers having an interest in Queven Gallagher for Celtic as long-term replacement for Joe Hart. It'd be better than
Joe Hart. Yeah,
and better. Than...
It would be though. Like it's a no-brainer that in a way. Young goalkeeper, playing Champions League experience.
At least he gets 6 games in Champions League.
Yeah, but you're not going to get a lot of pressure there. In a sense, you're not going to get a lot of pressure there, are you?
He needs to play. He needs to play.
Exactly. So he can play there. Joe Hart is finishing up his career. So wouldn't 100%. Be a bad move at a very high profile club for him.
Yep.
And Irish connected. Always going to do well. But it's a risk for him, though, as well, because if it goes wrong there, then it's like, oh, well, you couldn't make it there. And you should
Shane Duffy found that one out, unfortunately. John Muckey, no one's calling for League of Ireland teams. That is about James McLean giving out about that. Sorry, League of Ireland players, as John.
That's a bit of a giveaway for who I think that was aimed towards, by the way.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, you still have to tell me. My mind's going a million miles an hour. I want to know, though. I really do want to know. Darrell Connor, I love James McLean speaking his mind, etc. But coming after his own Irish support, I disagree with. At the end of the day, it's not our opinions picking the squad, unfortunately. It's Kenny. Graham McLean should be phased out. Graham, again, very fortunate to get to 100 caps. Darrell O'Connor, I back him all day long when he speaks out about the poppy. It's about James McLean, but he should pick his battles. As I said, just because some are saying he shouldn't start doesn't mean he won't. Shouldn't take it personal. 100%, Darrell. 100%. He's very sensitive.
Just come in, James McLean. I mean, it's amazing for me looking back at 2012 when he was picked in the squad, Trapattoni and all that kind of stuff, that he ever got to 100 caps because he's a very limited footballer. I'm going to be honest, right? All very left-footed, right?
You're coming after Green Machine now.
No, but fair play. Like I think he's done amazingly well, and he's always performed, and he's always stepped up, and he's played wherever he wants to play, or we've been asked to play. And I just think he's taken it massively personal, and it's not that because he's had some amazing support from the Irish support, and I think he's taken it far too personally. Is it because he probably is looking to go back to League of Ireland perhaps one day. Let's not knock his achievement. There's very few over 100 caps. He's done it. Crack on, James. You've done really, really well. You're still in the squad. We know we can count on you with it, but don't take it out personally.
No. Calm down, James. David Curley, Kenny out of his depth, but doesn't he still deserve job purely on amount of youngsters he's brought through? Give it to a better manager in 5 years when we're actually ready for tournaments.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, lads, and I don't know what the alternative to the youngsters were, because if you look at the team just before Kenny came in, I mean, you Dave McGoldrick up front, you'd like Sean Williams, made his debut only a couple of years before. Players like that, Conor Hourhan was playing, Richard Keogh. The youngsters were playing first team football. Adam Ida was playing first team football. Troy Parrish was getting a few appearances here and there. Michael Obafemi getting first team football. So Andrew Omobamidele as well. So a lot of these youngsters, it's not like Stephen Kenny just promoted them to the seniors when they were with the youth teams of their clubs. They were playing senior club football. And I think if Mick McCarthy was there, people say, oh, Mick is overly loyal and yada, yada, yada. But I've no doubt that Mick McCarthy would have injured. Like, Mick McCarthy was going to call up Adam Ida, wasn't he? And then he was out of the job or whatever. And he called up Lee O'Connor. He called up Josh Cullen. Like, he gave Josh Cullen his break.
What's the name of the young lad that was at Celtic and he ended up playing at Queen's Park? No, he ended up playing at
Luke O'Connell. So, like...
Yeah, he was going to call him up for...
Yeah, and Luke O'Connell's an excellent player. Obviously, he's injury issues at the moment. But Mick McCarthy brought Luke O'Connell into the Ireland squad when he was 17. So I understand that Stephen Kenny has brought the youngsters in, but the youngsters were the only option, to be honest, regardless. So okay. I don't fully buy that argument. And,
no.
I bought into that argument for a long time, but I don't.
He just did what a responsible manager would do. Yeah. To be fair, O'Neill and Trapattoni before him were very responsible. Didn't really give a monkeys about bringing young players through. Stephen Kenny's just done what any manager, what any sensible manager that has a long-term goal and a long-term contract would have done. Mick McCarthy, obviously 2019. Don't forget, guys, he had a 1-year contract, get and one goal get us to the Euros by hook or by crook, and then Stephen Kenny comes in, so he went with short term because that's what he had to do. But I do agree, Mick McCarthy 1.0, the very first one from 96 to 2002, would have gone with the young players because he did it back in 96. Right, we're going to try and get through the rest of these comments, lads, as quick as we can. Well said, by the way, Nick. John Muckian, we are looking for a full Premier League team, not League Two. Got a full Premier League backline and a striker. We'll get there. We will get there. Connor, the thing I don't get about his statement is basically called his international teammate Jamie McGrath shite because he's not playing for one of the top two in Scotland.
That's McLean's statement, is it? Because he was slagging off Scotland, yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
I think Jamie McGrath would probably agree with him.
He probably would. I know, shite. I know, James. You're right. John Muckian agrees better on a Kenny. That is what Nick's comment on James McLean. Grania Peoples. James is a fantastic player, never gives up. No, he wears his heart on the sleeve, and we love James. We do love James. Darrell O'Connor, I agree McLean is better under Kenny. Anytime he crossed under O'Neill, it'd never beat the first man. Has improved with Kenny, but he shouldn't be taking critics personally. Top Irishman, but Kieran Boyle, very, very debatable that anyone has improved under Kenny, let alone McLean. And Niall Duddy, Mark Fitzpatrick, Jonathan Walters in 2015, who was last Irish player to score a hat-trick in the Premier League, as I said. Before him, it was Liam Best in 2011. Robbie Keane scored 3 Premier League hat-tricks, 2 in 2003 and again in 2009. Thank you for that, Niall. Do appreciate that. Good man. John Muckian, I want to see Festy and Manning start. Would be nice, but probably not the right game to do it.
Won't happen.
No. Darrell O'Connor, I didn't criticize O'Dowda tonight, Martin. We will give you a break this week. No, don't give him a break. He doesn't deserve one. John Muckian, see you in Paris. We will do. D. John, come up, say hello, please. Declan Finnegan on Eurostar Thursday morning. Good man, Declan. Hope you are well. Grania Peoples, James played out of his skin for Kenny in the first division. Outstanding player. Cop on. I don't know who that's at. Grania? Nick probably again. We know he hates James McLean. Darrell O'Connor, oh God, I hate TikTok and all them stupid dances. Brain dead content. But that's the sort of content we like, Darrell. Darrell again, the Lanyard has got to make an appearance. Do you know what? Hold on.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you might think that. Which one would... here we go. Against Norway. Just for you, Daryl, baby. Here we are. I knew something was missing. David Curley, is our underage setup actually decent now, or is that a myth? Might be naive, but hopefully we'll be like the new Switzerland in a few years. Fuck off the ball. GM all the way. Good man, David Curley. Fuck off the ball.
Just on that, you have to look at the underage setups elsewhere. You have to look outside of Ireland just to see that we're not one of the top, underage systems in Europe as we like to think we are. We're not. And the one thing I'd say is, I mentioned this last week on the podcast, like under Ruud Doctor, the former technical director, we had a lot of underage finals appearances. And things seem to have reverted to a completely different system after years and years of work from Ruud Doctor. And we're not qualifying for as many tournaments as we were, I'd say under 17 level, under 19 level. But as I said, you just have to take a little look around Europe and just see that we are not one of the top underage systems as we like to think we are.
No, I mean, we do get better, but everyone gets better. Even
exactly. That's it. Yeah.
That makes sense. Glenn Forbes has a question for you, Martin. Going forward, I think the strategy going forward against France, and going forward should be get it to Ferguson, have Ferguson take all the free kicks and penalties, maybe have him go and goal, manage the team, and drive the bus too. And is me t-shirt and pins in the mail, Martin?
T-shirt pins in the mail. Yeah, Evan Ferguson, completely agree. He should do everything for us. And looking forward to seeing you in Paris if you're there.
Yeah, Glenn, say hello. Absolutely. And yes, he should drive the bus. Daryl O'Connor, there was a 15-minute video recap of highlights of the whole campaign for 2002 on YouTube. Good video. Also, a lad who used to work with John Fallon, former Irish kitman, making an appearance in it. I must check it out. Daryl O'Connor, I'll bring back Noel Mooney. Don't rate Jonathan Hill at all. Agreed.
Good.
We love Noel. Kieran Ball, Kenny's the sole reason there's no main sponsor for the team. Anyone else would have been gone long ago.
It's definitely a factor, but I think the way the FAI is run is the main, and how it had been run is the main reason why we don't have a sponsor.
Oh, wow. The next one's a mad one.
Graham, and lads, if you want to comment, please keep your answers nice and concise. I do need to get through this. Graham, they were right to not continue Vera contract, in my opinion. Martin?
I'm a big fan of Vera Pauw. I can see a lot of, obviously, talk about it. I respect the fact she did the interview, the statement, the Tony O'Donoghue thing. I think it's mad. I think we're going to obviously cover it on a podcast on itself, I think, because it's so worth going into. She was massively undermined there. I'm amazed how well we did at the World Cup. And if it's true what Vera says, it's amazing that we actually did as well as we did, because she just seems to be undermined at every level, and it doesn't look very good.
I haven't responded.
No, they haven't, and this is the thing. Let's look at it. Over in Australia, the FAI were asked to kind of do press conferences or have an interview with the press coverage over there. Didn't want to do it, and yet in the background, everything's being done to undermine the team. And I think if it comes out that is the case, I think it's got a role at that top level, to be honest.
I agree.
It's very, very dangerous what our CEO's doing if he's done that, what they've said.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. The comparison between the men's team and the women's team. We've got a woman who's got us to the World Cup. Okay, lots of controversy behind her. I think I've got an opinion on that, of course, and we've given it before. But Stephen Kenny's actually failing at the moment, and yet we're still backing him, giving extension to contracts. Same CEO, same board. I would actually question the board. What are they doing? And I think there's massive questions to be asked to them.
Okay.
Now they have to be accountable, and when is that going to happen?
Okay, fair enough. There you go, Graham. Hope that answers that one. Blaine Forbes, what's been the last day transfer move for Irish players this season, unlike Amabamba Deli to Forest? I think that's probably been the only one, to be fair. Although I would have liked to have seen Caoimhín Keller get a move somewhere. Daryl O'Connor, also speaking on hosting the Euros, I originally thought top 2 ranked go through automatically. Heard something else that we play North, Scotland, Wales, England in a tournament for the spots. But that's the thing. It's flawed. It's completely flawed. And anyone who thinks that it's going to be good for Irish football Martin, I think is absolutely living in cloud cuckoo land. It does nothing to promote the facilities or to improve the facilities in this country. It's one stadium. It's already built. When you have a Euros, Daryl, as we all know, you want stadiums to improve. You want transport to improve. You want an investment in the product in Ireland. You're not going to get that. And there was talk that we're going to use GAA stadiums. Everyone's going to go to a GAA stadium, apparently, at one stage. But it'll just be one stadium, I think. But yeah, totally agree. And a world-class facilities, even though we need £1 billion to get them up to scratch. Do me a favour, as Roy would say. And St. Kevin's Football Club.
Yeah, brilliant. Fair play. Right, fantastic. Coming on that. West London has supported them many years ago with the team of Robbie Brady, Jeff Hendrick, Nick's favourite player. Fantastic. Love seeing the PFA Awards in England last week with Liam Brady there, former St. Kevin's boy, president of West London, by the way, and his dad and granddad and Evan, of course, as well. Amazing to see. What a development team they are, to be honest. And
fabulous. Yeah,
only getting better. And I love the whole Evan Ferguson story, and I love the way they're so cheeky that they've asked for the match ball to be given to them to put in their clubhouse. So fair play. Thanks for listening, and hope Evan will deliver on that because he's very grounded. I'm sure he doesn't want to keep it, but brilliant.
Absolutely. Glenn Forbes, again, watching the interview with Pau and the mess with the Spanish FA, I'm pretty convinced FIFA is just full of John Delaney's. It seems to be the culture. Rob Aladine, any thoughts on playing Collins in midfield?
I've seen that floated around a bit, and I don't know. Declan Rice was a centre half, wasn't he? Turned into a midfielder, and Collins is very tidy in the ball. He could probably do a job there. But Darragh O'Shea, I think, would actually do a job there. I think he's very adaptable to different positions, so maybe him. But no, I don't think so. We're very light midfield, very heavy on centre halves, but no, don't think so.
I mean, Jack did it, didn't he, with Lawrence and McGrath as well? It was him and Whelan, I think, playing against England. McGrath and Whelan. So it can happen, but he is very good on the ball, to be fair. No, it's an interesting one though, Rob. I do like that. Graham, youngest cap before Kenny was Alan Brown at 26. Is mad. It's a transition phase that needed to be done, much like Gary Speed. The next manager will reap the benefits. I do agree there. As I said, Graham, it was just, we were just horribly mismanaged for years. There was no responsible managerial. There was just no management. There was no responsible management doing things properly, aligning all the teams together, which is what we're trying to do now, marrying all the different age groups playing the same style of football and bringing them through. Because you know what? When you get them in the shop window, playing for the international team, they get moves.
Look, Keith Andrews said that for a long time on off the ball and stuff. I think the key thing with this is into this next international window, got 2 games. Now, I know they've said, 2 points, or it's been alluded that, Stephen Kenny needs to get this. The fact of it is, if we don't get results here, Stephen Kenny's very likely to be gone. Then we've got 2 games against Greece and Dead Rubbers and New Zealand. Then it comes into the Nations League draw in December. And we don't know who we're even playing in that, what seed we're going to be or anything. And there is actually a weird scenario. If we don't do very well in this group, as we're not doing at the moment, that we can still qualify for the Euros, because it all depends on the other teams, what they're doing and how they get on. So we could actually go into a playoff, kind of semi-final, kind of quarter-final kind of thing, and then it goes into a final. That can all happen. But we just don't know. And madly, the FAI, I mean, we talked about this at West London's meeting the other night. Deck, I know, is on the call or on the show watching. They're selling season tickets next year on the basis of we don't know actually any of the games that we're going to be playing in. And that's the commercially minded FAI at the moment. We do not know what we're doing going forward. That's not their fault because we don't know where we are qualification-wise. But that's just mad that we just don't know, and yet they're trying to sell that kind of thing. And it all about these results coming forward. And we could have 2 dead rubbers, a part of current season ticket, Greece and New Zealand, that we're going into now. And, there could be half-empty stadiums of these games. And that's what the FAI are going to be very, very worried about.
Yeah.
Commercially minded. That's it.
No, that's fair. Kieran Boyle, why does Kenny keep getting credit for bringing youngsters through? That's all there was to pick, as Nick said. There were a bunch of retirements when he came on. Any manager would have picked youngsters. Kenny stays getting the soft touch from the press, especially off the ball, who you have to pay for these days. You don't have to pay for us, though, Kieran. Rob Aladine, could we have Cullen play more forward and let Collins do a holding role?
No, don't think so.
No, it's an interesting one though, Rob. So I tell you what, it's better. It's better than playing Cyrus Christie an hour telling them that you're playing in centre midfield against Northern Ireland. It's better than that. I'll absolutely give you that. Glenn Forbes says, thanks, Martin. Badges in the post.
It's the message. If you're starting to look about Collins coming, a defender who plays with that team week in, week out, and you're saying to our midfielders, we're going to play you there. It's different to Paul McGrath. Paul McGrath's an absolute legend. He can play anywhere. That's it. But it's different to Collins, to be honest.
I'm just giving an example that it has been.
Yeah.
Before. Like, it's not crazy. And to be fair, it's not a crazy suggestion to put a right back who plays in channels into the big pond in the midfield an hour before, a position he hadn't done since he was 12.
Oh, yeah, that is bad. Yeah.
That's insanity. But no, Rob, I think Rob makes an interesting one there. It's not outrageous. Daryl O'Connor, last couple of comments coming up here. Absolutely agree. Euros does nothing for us, and we might even get automatic spots. Great show tonight, lads. Looking forward to Kenny hopefully getting a 2+ points. Well, I'd like to see him do it. Daryl O'Connor, bring back third place, getting the playoffs. Too confusing to work out. I'm still trying to work it out. Greece get a playoff despite where they finish. And the last comment of the night, Rob Aladine, just think both players are good ballers. Annie Morning will be there soon. Right. Well, actually, Rob says, great show, lads. Thanks. We're going to leave it there. Good man, Rob. Thank you for those comments. Right. We're going to get into it. Or we're going to get to the end of it.
We've got a big week ahead, haven't we, Dave? We've got a big week ahead, haven't we?
We do. There's music. There we go, lads. Sorry about that. I was trying to work it out. A big week ahead for you and I, Martin. We're going to be around the place, aren't we? We're going to be in Paris. We're going to be in Dublin. We're going to be doing our thing. Yeah?
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah. Have you sobered up yet, Martin, have you?
I am. I'm there now. I was at Man United Arsenal today. Very, very disappointing, but we move on. It's International Week now, so that's what it's about. That's the main focus.
That's the main focus. Yeah, good thing we're not doing a Premier League show. And of course, that is the main focus for us. We will be around. We're going to be in Paris. Martin and I will be in Paris. We will be in Dublin. If you see us, come up and say hello to us. Absolutely. We will have a preview in Paris. We're going to have a recorded preview. I'm going to be in the Parc des Princes somewhere, or hiding in a bus shelter trying to do a live show somewhere, or record a show. Then we will be live in the stadium. We will do a pre-game show, and we'll do the aftermath, of course. As always, we'll see how it goes, and you have your say. We'll also be in Abbottstown when I am landing in Dublin, and I'm going straight over to Abbottstown to the press conference. We're going to do another preview show there, and then of course the same applies, lads. Live from Lansdowne Road, we'll have the preview, we'll have the squad announcement or the team announcement, and we will be live afterwards for the aftermath and see how we get on against the Dutch. And then of course, when we get back to Blighty, Martin and I, that night, I think it's on the September 11th, we are going to do a live review. No holds barred, isn't that right, lads? We're just going to go for it. Just say what you want, tell us what you think about the window, and we'll have a chat about it, and then we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, thank you very, very much, guys, for listening out there. Thank you for your comments. Hope to see you in Paris. Hope to see you in Dublin. And hope to see some wins on the board, but who knows? Anyway, lads, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very, very much. And we are going to see you on the next one. And yet again, I am struggling to find it. Here we go. All the best. All right.